Yeah, you kept mine up there, right? I got that on tape.
Is that going to be on your bloopers?
Yeah, that's on bloopers.
My lead story today.
See, you print guys have it easy. You got a pad and a pencil, and the most fundamental roles of government is to help protect its citizens. I mean, that's something that, certainly we can do that within our own homes, but we have to depend upon government entities, particularly our law enforcement, public safety officials, to help. This is what's interesting, Mick, from the trenches. I hear from prosecutors, anecdotally now, I hear from prosecutors that juries don't hear that the amount of sentence, for instance, maybe only 15% that a guilty perpetrator, guilty defendant may serve. And so prosecutors think that juries actually believe that the sentence they enact is what the time that would be served. I hear, on the other hand, from defense counsel who think juries are smart enough to know that a defendant, if convicted, is going to serve only a small amount, and so they really pile on a defendant. And the fact is that prosecutors and defense attorneys or even judges don't really know this complicated formula of whether or not someone who's convicted, now I'm not talking about being accused, but actually convicted in a court of law in the state of Missouri, how much time that individual is going to serve in our state prison system. I think that we need truth in sentencing, and that 85% of a sentence should be served. We can have, I'm sure there will be some questions about that as far as prisons and crowding and things like that we can talk about a little bit later. Often what happens in Jefferson City is a bill will be passed and it will mandate something for law enforcement to do. And in this instance, it requires our law enforcement then to, in the absence of the federal government taking this issue, local law enforcement then has to enforce these laws against illegal immigration. And there's no corresponding funding for that. I've assured the law enforcement agencies that under Hulshof administration, we will in fact fund these additional duties, especially as it relates to illegal immigration, that we will provide the funds necessary, not only again for training, because I think there is a memorandum of understanding, for instance, between certain law enforcement agencies and federal authorities, but as far as training those local law enforcement officers to do what now we are requiring them to do under this, we could use in real time a computer database so that if you show up, if you take a prescription and you are, I won't pick one here in town, but if you stand in front of to have your prescription filled here in Columbia, Missouri, that is logged in, and in real time, if you were then to drive to Boonville and try to fill that same prescription or to refill that same prescription, it would already be entered in the database that in fact that prescription has been filled, as well as doctors that in some instances may overprescribe. Again, this is a matter of public safety, but there's a potential criminal element as well. Again, this was a bill that Sheriff Kenny Jones, now Representative Kenny Jones, sponsored in the House. Senator Norman Champion from the Springfield area was the sponsor in the Senate, and for whatever reason at the end of the session did not have enough momentum then to get across the line. So we are embracing those ideas of creating this electronic monitoring program, again, to collect this data. We're doing it so that the privacy of those customers is not compromised, but we are trying to prevent prescription drug abusers from forging prescriptions or engaging in doctor shopping.